Ronette Branham, here to offer biblical strategies for effective teaching. Let's talk about cultivating a growth mindset in your classroom. What is a growth mindset? A growth mindset is when you're focusing on growing, being better, being perfecting a craft. Just say you didn't know math, or you didn't think you could do certain concepts in math, or you couldn't teach certain concepts in math. But then you look down the road and all of a sudden, I can teach that, or I understand that math. You grew from not understanding to understanding and teaching. That is something that we have to understand that we can do, that we can provide for our students. So we want to grow in our mindset. I know in James 1, verse 2 through 4, 1 second. The Bible says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of any kind, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing." And that's where we're trying to go. We're trying to go from our trials, our struggles, what we think we're incompetent at or we don't have enough competency in, to lacking nothing, being mature and lacking nothing in that subject area. I know when my students learn something, and math, I keep saying math, or they learn to read when they couldn't read, they learn sounds, they're writing sentences when they couldn't, when they wrote gibberish at the beginning of the year, and then they see that they're writing whole sentences or paragraphs or 5 sentences, 6 sentences, that something happens in their mind. We talked about meeting goals. So that's a goal that we want to set in our classroom, that we're going to grow from here to here. We set those SMART goals for our students, set those SMART goals for ourselves, and then we could see that we grow. That is, setting those goals, SMART goals, is a form of cultivating a growth mindset. Because if you set a goal, that means you're trying to reach somewhere you were not before. You're at a certain level, and now you're trying to get higher. And I think that is something that it will help not only you as a professional, but it will help your students. If you have a growth mindset, then you could project that onto your students, and your students will see how happy you are when things are progressing. And then they'll see how excited you are when you do something, or when they do something, they perform well in a particular area. Then you'll have that. You project that to your students, and your students will want to copy you. The students will want to implement exactly what it is that you're doing. And so we want to have this mindset because it will have an impact on our students, that growth mindset. When we're talking about growing and reaching goals and setting goals and reaching those goals, that will be a definite impact on your students, especially how we feel when we meet a goal. It gives us a brighter outlook. We like, oh, I did that. I could check this off. I could check, oh, I ran 5 miles if you run, or I filled out my whole teacher planner for the week, or I entered grades in this week, and now I'm finished. Now I could check that off for the market period, or whatever it is that we're doing. We're reaching it. We're happier. We feel fulfilled when we're working on goals and we complete those goals. So we feel fulfilled, and not only is it, we grow from thing to thing. We have that. Oh wow, where I'm sorry, where we are teaching our students that we can work hard. We can work hard, and then we could reach our goals, being dedicated, and we have that belief, because it all starts with our mindset. Again, we have that belief that we can develop through dedication and hard work. We can actually do it. I keep using my last class as an example, but then this class that I have now is an example also, because my students came in there not being able to read, sound out words, knowing maybe they knew the sounds of letters. Some of them did, some of them didn't, and they couldn't write a word, a sentence. Some of them, most of them. And then right before Christmas, I'm able to give them tell them to tell me what they're going to do for Christmas break or what it is that they want for Christmas. They were able to write a sentence or two, a few sentences. Some people wrote a paragraph, but they were able to grow. And I could see their growth. And that is like something that keeps me going. So having that dedication and hard work is that growth mindset, that part of that growth mindset. And then also, like I said, it will impact positively influence our students. It will to challenging and learning. Like we could talk to our students about what happens when we have these math problems and we don't really understand it, or we try and we don't get it right. That is like, okay, it's challenging, so let's look at it as an opportunity. So our students will understand the difference between opportunity and something that they cannot do. This is not just a struggle. This is not just a problem, but it's an opportunity to see what it is that I can do to implement this, to work on this equation. So now it goes from, and we're going to take the approach that is from challenging and learning. It's not just, oh, we're struggling. I don't know how to do this, but now I'm going to learn. What do I need to do to figure out, solve these equations, these problems? Or what am I going to do to read this paragraph, this book I haven't read, I don't understand. So then what am I going to do? That's a challenge. That's not even just a challenge, but you're going to learn from that. Okay, did my teacher teach me what does CH sound like? I'm trying to read the word chip. I can CH sounds like ch, and I know the sounds of I and P. Let me put that together. Or if I want to be able to write a word. So everything that we do, we teach our students because of us. Because like I said, my classroom was a challenge. And then once I got to the point where I knew this is what I have to do, I didn't really understand that I was going to be changing classes, because it was already, this is my class, you got to deal with it. So then I had to regroup. I had to take some time. I took off some days, regrouped, and said, okay, so this is what I want to do. I want to work hard. And I worked hard, and now my students are able to write and do some math. Some of them now, I even found out another student where she was struggling that I didn't understand she was struggling at because of the language barrier. And now I know. So the challenge is, I learned from that. Now I need to spend time with each student, no matter what, and see where it is they need. They're having a problem, but they have to talk to me, because I was pointing and talking. They didn't understand me, so we're trying to figure it out. We're working in groups. Instead of working in groups, I need 2 students instead of 5 students, or I learned from that. So as I have that, if I have that mindset, it will impact my students positively, and then they'll do the same thing. And then offer foster growth and mindset among teachers. Collaborate with teachers, discuss with teachers. This is what I want to do, and I say that all the time, right? How it's going to benefit. Talk to other teachers how this will benefit you and your students. We can discuss it. Discuss the importance of embodying the growth mindset, because if you have that, I had a teacher say, they cannot do this, they cannot do that. I don't know. I can't help my students because this is not. I remember I worked years, and I still come across teachers saying the same thing. But my students don't know how to do that. They can't do this. I don't give homework. I don't give this because they can't do it. Yes, they can. I even get feedback from parents. Why are you giving this hard homework? They can't do it. I ask the parents, let the students read, then they write about what they read. Anybody can do that. I don't care what. You just tell me what the story's about in your own words. You can accomplish that. Students can accomplish that. So you talk to your collaborate with other teachers and say, let's push our students this year. We want to grow a little bit. We want to learn. Want our students to learn. We want to learn what our students are actually capable of. And again, I gave that scripture of James 1 and verse 2-4, where it talks about perseverance, how it leads to what it leads to, And so then we're going to provide actionable steps, to integrating growth mindset principles into our daily activities. And so to do that, you may use positive growth oriented language. and avoid fixed mindset. You might say, instead of saying you're smart, you say I appreciate the hard work, and dedication that you did to, dedication to understanding these concepts. So we want our students to change their language. We have to change our language. Our students change their language. Because your mindset's not going to change unless you speak it. You start speaking. Speaking it, and again, you want to um, promote, that effort and persistence is what's going to get you to grow. I might say, I'm going to work with my students. I want my students to move levels in reading, right? I worked for a month. It didn't work. They didn't move, right? So then what? Am I just going to say, okay, I'm going to give up? No, I'm going to keep on persisting until the end of the school year. Like I told you last week or the week before, I had a student who he took wait till after I did my student growth objectives and turned it in to see what the students did, if they matched, if they met, if they met the goals that I set for them. And this one student, he didn't move. He was on a certain level and he stayed there, and he couldn't get it. And then after I submitted all my paperwork and everything, then here he goes. He's growing and he's reading, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So that persistence, I have to keep on working on it. Keep on trying, keep on highlighting the process. Let the students know the process of learning and the importance of perseverance. Because you have to persevere. You just can't stop and start and say, oh, it's not working. And then remember to embrace our challenges as opportunities. So every challenge is not just like, oh man, I cannot do this. I cannot work with these students. This is an opportunity for me to grow, to me to see what I can do with my students. And I did it. And then once I made up my mind and I worked, I was taken out of that situation to help me. But I had to first, sometimes God works on us. First, I had to relax and calm and then see the opportunity that I had. And so once I did that, then things worked out. And also my students grew. My students grew in that short time. After the 2 months, October, November, December, they actually grew, and you could see it, and I was excited. I was passing around their work, showing my partner teacher, look what they did, this is what they wrote. Matter of fact, I didn't even do that at first. Matter of fact, they left their books open because we didn't realize we had a special. We had to go to gym. And so, leave your work where it is. Let's go, let's line up, let's get out of here. And so as we did that, they left their books open. Then my partner teacher came in, and she was like, whoa, look at this. These students are writing. They're writing well. This is good. And so then I started showing different ones. I showed students who we didn't know we would not have thought could write a sentence. Even though our sentence was 3 words, it was more than she has ever given. So, and then we could show our students and talk to our friends about how to, embrace challenges as opportunities, so we could talk about problems or incorporate problems into our challenging problems into our classroom and let the students come up with answers, because it's an opportunity for you to work those problems out through problem solving. And that is something that we're doing in science. That's something that we do in math and literacy when we learn how to read, all that. And you give those examples to your students. And then as you speak those examples, this is what I did, this is what I tried, this is what I did, and this is what worked. And I persevered and I came out on top. So all of that. And then also that positive classroom language. We have to speak positively. And we don't want to do just concrete, abstract, what do you call it? Fixed language. We don't want a fixed mindset. Say you're smart, you did good. No, let's explain what we did. I see that you worked hard on this problem, and look, you solved this equation. You solved this problem. I see you worked hard on your reading, on your phonics, and then now you're writing sentences. I watched you grow. Look at this. I am so excited. I put stickers on everything. And then we could talk about, give feedback that encourages growth. Constructive feedback that focuses on the effort, the strategies, improvement rather than, again, fixed abilities. Instead of saying you're good at this, I have a student, he's like, I'm good at math. why are you doing this math? And I can't get you to do anything reading because I'm good at math. He keeps saying he's good at math. You're great with numbers. I see you're making progress. I see how you're working out these equations and you're coming up with the answers. You're solving equations. That's amazing. What are you doing? Try new approaches, things that we say. Don't just say you're good at math because he might be good at this math. He might do well in second grade math or in addition and subtraction, but then when you get to measuring, he may have some issues. So you talk about how he learns how to solve problems and follow directions so that he can get answers. And that way, that's the reason that you're great at math because you're working out equations. You're trying these approaches. Speak that way to our students. Speak that way to ourselves. And goal setting and reflection. So you can guide your students into setting realistic goals. Again, that's the same thing we said the SMART goals for ourselves. Set SMART goals for our students. You're on what reading level? You're on D. How about let's try to see how long it takes us to get to level E. So we're going to work on these. We're going to work on these sound patterns. We're going to work reading all level D books. And let's get through these level D books and see if we could get to level E. If we could read through all these level D books with no problem or with very limited issues. So we're going to work on that. And then as you go, then we're going to adjust our goals. Maybe I can read level E, but I need to work on my long vowel sounds. Maybe when I see A consonant E, I really don't really know what that is. So we work on that. We're going to create short-term and long-term goals, right? Maybe I can just read this book. This is my short-term goal. I'm going to read this book, this story. I'm going to take it home every day this week and read it until I get this book. Then I'm going to read another book. So by the end of the month, I have 5 books that I've read on this level. And then the next, maybe during that time, you want to talk to them about writing a paragraph about the story. So maybe they have to copy words straight out of the book, what it says. By the end of the month, let's see if we could tell this story in our own words. We're going to do that kind of stuff. And this is what setting goals with our students are, and then we'll discuss the steps that we took to meet our goals. We have a lot that we could do. And then, again, model that growth mindset to our students. Share stories with our students. Tell them how it took you when you learn how to read or you learn how to do math. I have one where I have exactly what we're doing today in our class with this subtraction and how to break apart method, the rhyme and reason behind it. Because I had some people today adults, who said, "Oh, we know how to break apart." It didn't match with the lesson because you had to break apart and end up with a 10. And so it was 8, something minus 8. They were just doing 4 and 4. No, then it's harder to subtract. Just say it's 33, take away 8. So you don't use 4 and 4. You don't break apart 4 and 4. You want to take away the 3 plus something else so that you can have a whole, what did I say, 32? I don't know, what did I say, 53? So you want to end up with a 50 and then subtract from that. So you want to get to a 10. And so I had to learn that years ago when I was trying to help my granddaughter with her second grade math. And I didn't understand because we didn't have this math. And so now that I learned it, now I get it. And I'm like, oh, now I get it. So explain this process that you went through, with your students and with your people, your peers. Because working together with your peers, again, that collaboration is great. And also talk to your students about a collaborative learning environment. So students can work together with math. Students can read together and we can help each other get in a group and we read together. We're on the same reading level, or you read with somebody on a higher reading level, or somebody who understands math a little bit more than you, and work together, and then you work it out, and then you collaborate, and then have projects. Maybe it might be a science project, a social studies project. There's a science project, social studies science project we had last year where we made models of landscapes. And we had groups. So the groups had to discuss what they're going to do, how they're going to make these landscapes, how they're going to make the roads, how they're going to make the mountains, what they're going to use to make the mountains. I gave them a bunch of material. You figure it out. You work together and you collaborate and you teamwork. And so they did, and they loved what they came up with. They were like, "Who's taking this home? Who's taking this one home in our group?" Because they wanted to show their parents. So I took pictures and showed their parents do class dojo, and then let them know. One of the most important things is celebrate mistakes. You know how we are so hard on ourselves. Oh, I did that. I messed that up. And we don't think, okay, just try again the next day. Try again. You'll get it right. Now this didn't work. So now I have something else to do. So let them know. Normalize making mistakes with your students. Normalize it. Let them know it's a part of the learning process, making mistakes. They emphasize that mistakes provide valuable insight. It does. When you make a mistake, you get insight of what didn't work. What did work. Next time I'll do this. Next time I'll work on that. And then also incorporate literature. Find books where people had to try and try again and grow and learn. I don't know. There's a book called The Power of Yet. I don't know if that's the second grade. Your Fantastic Elastic Brain. Those incorporate the growth mindset in literature. And then also take time with your class, take time with yourself, take time with your colleagues, and reflect on your growth mindset. What happened. Sit down in a session and say, okay, this is what we're going to talk about today. How did we grow when we worked on this project? Did we learn something in math today? What did I learn? What did I try before that didn't work, and now I understand it more? Or what did I learn from making mistakes? Sit down and just schedule that time. You can do it once a week. What did we learn? Did we learn how to actually solve two-step equations? Did we actually learn how to read with these endings on these words or these digraphs or these trigraphs? Can we read a story that is chock full of these digraphs and trigraphs or endings? Could we do that before, and are we able to do it now? So just set aside that time. That will help your students grow, because you sit down. You know how we go from step to step to step, lesson to lesson to lesson without sitting back. Then we test the students and we act like the test is all the be all end all, right? But the what it is us sitting down with our students and discussing how we grew. Did we learn what we set out to do? Did we learn what we wanted to learn? So that means if we did, we grew. If we didn't, we grew still, because we learned what worked and what didn't work. And so we're gonna remember, these things for our students, and then we could share with our students. I have second graders; they could draw. They could draw a challenge that they had in the class, and then how they solved the problem, whatever the classroom. They could have a story circle where we sit in a circle and we discuss brief stories about learning challenges or achievements that we had. Our students can also have journals where they write in their journals and tell what I learned, how did I learn this, how did I grow from not knowing something to knowing something, not knowing how to do something to learning how to do whatever it is, how to read, write, spell, then they can also we have these things for our phonics. It's an owl, and then there's a baby owl. So I think I'm going to incorporate that into showing the baby owl how to grow, and just say the baby owl doesn't know how to read these words, and how he's going to learn phonics with the students. So that is something that we can use, and we can use that as a mascot for our classroom. And you could do role playing with your students or with other teachers. I mean, you could do it with yourself. We work things out. We say, if you don't have anybody to talk to yourself and explain and work it out. When you talk things out, it's like helping you solve the issue, solve the problems, come up with answers. If you talk it out, you could pretend, stand in front of the camera, do whatever, stand in front of a mirror, stand in front of the classroom. You don't have to be looking at anything, any particular. Just that role playing will help you solve problems. Show you how you growing. You can have all kind of games, to reinforce mindset growth concepts. Share instances or trying new things. So all of our lessons, all of our content area lessons should show we can use for talking about or discussing um, mindset growth. All because we changed our mind. Math was so hard. Now I get it. Reading was so hard. Now I can read. So everything. So we want to go over again. We talked about mindset growth, how to incorporate it for you and collaborate with other teachers, discuss it. You may have a classroom, a grade level team, how to discuss it for your classroom, things that you can incorporate into your classroom, like positive language, growth mindset language, concepts instead of fixed concepts, fixed language, how to show the students how that it is about celebrate mistakes as learning opportunities, go from thinking of things as a challenge to an opportunity, all of that. And then again, reflecting with your students, reflecting with other teachers, reflecting whoever, and let the students know that the effort and the persistence, that is something that is going to help you gain a growth mindset. So, what I would love for you to do is share. This is a something that I want my listeners to do. Share with me how this works in your classroom, or what you would implement about mindset growth in your classroom. This is something that I am excited about. Excited about us doing it. Excited about us working on this. And I appreciate you again. This is Ronette Branham with Educators with Oil, offering biblical strategies for effective teaching. And again, thank you for joining, and have a blessed day.